Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.
The core of this teaching is to realize that any pain in our lives has suffering attached to it, but that the suffering is separate from the pain. This is true of all types of pain, physical, mental, or emotional. Pain is what comes into your life from the world outside. Suffering is what you add by your reactions to the pain. For instance, something unpleasant happens to you and causes you to feel sad or unhappy. That is emotional pain, and it's right and natural. But the inner reaction to avoid is the one where you feel the emotional pain of, vanished joy, loss of a valuable element in your life, maybe loneliness or whatever the unpleasant experience was. You feel that and then push or struggle against it. The initial experience is part of your natural pain. Feel it and accept it. Accepting it doesn't mean that you have to like it. It's painful and that's not nice, but don't fight against it. For example, you may feel, I'm lonely, and that's unpleasant. That's okay to feel. What is not okay is then to add, I don't want to be lonely. I want company in my life. This is horrible. I want it to stop, etc., etc. This is the part that is contrasting what you have with what you want to have. It contrasts pain with lack of pain. That contrasting or struggle is the mental action that adds unnecessary suffering to the necessary pain. Remember, pain is mandatory, but suffering is optional. The importance of this is that the element of suffering is almost always far greater than the element of pain. Now that we've dealt with letting go of the suffering, let's see how to manage the actual pain on its own. The first stage is once you've let go of the suffering, you'll find that the pain on its own is not as hard to bear. However, a key technique in pain management is to realize and accept that it's okay to feel bad. There's nothing wrong with feeling bad, and it's only when you feel that it's wrong and start to fight against it that you start to suffer. This can't be stressed enough. It's the assumption that feeling bad is in itself a bad thing that is the beginnings of our fight against pain, the fight that starts the suffering process. So the answer is to accept that you feel bad and that feeling bad is okay. It's fine for you to feel bad, but it's not fine for you to feel that you shouldn't be feeling bad. Pain happens to everyone at some time. You're not required to enjoy it, but you can accept it and accept the fact that the pain is there and it will be there for only a limited period. The type and cause of the pain will determine how long that period is, but it will be limited. It will have an end date. The event or state that triggered the pain might be permanent, but the pain will not. So, the first stage is to accept that it's okay to feel bad. Now we allow ourselves to sink into the pain, acknowledge it, wallow in it as it were, absorb it. Some people have spoken of this as being almost like making a friend of their pain. The second stage, this is the stage where we ask for help to handle the pain. This step is very important. For those who have no God, there are other ways of doing it. You can ask the universe or whatever form of higher power you believe in. Use your own words, but the general request or prayer is 1. To acknowledge and accept the existence of the pain as something that you surrender to. Acknowledge and accept it as the will of God or the universe or a higher power. By doing that, you are giving it to God or the universe or a higher power. 2. To ask for help and strength to bear the pain. Not for the pain to end or reduce, only for the strength to bear it. And 3. To ask for insight or wisdom or help, to live according to His will while the pain is there. By His will I mean the will of God, but without a God you can still ask for the wisdom to live according to the flow of the universe or the will of your higher power. I recommend this as a prayer rather than a purely psychological technique, because prayer, although a spiritual technique, is also an extremely powerful psychological technique. And the third stage, Learn to live more effectively to remove the cause of the pain. And it's not possible to do that while you're fighting your pain. The final section of the prayer I've just mentioned will summon spiritual help, but it also does something very powerful to your mind. And here is where we return to the purely psychological level. It directs your subconscious to operate morally, or according to your conscience. It helps it to direct you to live in a way that will most effectively remove the cause of your pain, as far as that is actually possible.
Om Gram Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gram Ganapataye Namaha.